Good evening, everyone. This is Alan Becker, and I'm coming to you with another movie and leadership talk. So, uh, after I doing Kung Fu Panda, I got thinking about some of the other movies that I really like, and I love kids films because I really think that they're fun and they really kind of help me get away from the seriousness of, you know, life. So, how many of you guys have heard of Shrek? Hopefully you guys have heard of Shrek. And so when I first saw this film, I was actually mortified by it. I just come off a 2-year sabbatical, and it was a huge shock to my system. And it took a couple years for me to actually appreciate the film and get it. Okay, and then I learned that I love the film. Okay, and that I thought it was a fantastic story. So, what is this story about? This movie Shrek. So it's about an ogre, and in this case, Shrek is a big green monster compared to people, and he lives in a swamp. He doesn't like other people. He has no friends, and he sees himself in a negative light. He sees himself in a negative light, and that was Siri going off, by the way. My question is, can you relate to him? How many of you have looked at your life in a negative way, like Shrek does? Now, of course, not exactly. None of us live in swamps. Well, I do live in West Virginia, so there might be somebody. I guess Louisiana, Florida might have somebody living in swamps. I don't want to stereotype, but it's possible. So we can very easily, especially based on our personality types, focus more on our negatives than the positive characteristics that are who we are, right? That we can see see those negatives more than we can see the positives. So what happens is the movie opens and Shrek's kind of getting ready for the day, and he meets a talking donkey. Because the local kingdom is collecting all the fairy tale creatures, and they're casting them out of society, which was really just a sham to get the magic mirror. But Donkey goes back with him to the swamp, and he doesn't like it. He makes Donkey sleep outside, and then as he's getting ready for dinner, what happens? The 3 blind mice show up, and all the other fairy tale creatures are dumped in his swamp. And you got to think, this Lord Farquaad has no respect for, those around him. And maybe he didn't even know. He just told them to, go get rid of him. So Shrek decides he's going to go do something about this guy and these fairy tale creatures in his swamp. But what causes him to do that? What causes him to get out of his comfortable swamp and go and do something about his life? Well, it's a huge discomfort. And a lot of times for us, that's the thing that gets us out of what we're normally doing, out of our routines and habits, is we have a great discomfort in our own lives. And so, what are we doing about it? What are you doing about it? About your discomfort? So, how many of you are fighting for what you really want? What kind of work on yourself are you putting in on a regular basis? And if you've paid attention to leadership material of any kind at all, one of the first things is self-leadership. And Shrek goes through this discovery, this journey of self-leadership. And he does it by taking a quest on to get rid of the people from his swamp. And so what happens with you and me is when we go on this quest, it may be because we're trying to get rid of some irritant from our lives or some problem that is there in our life that we just want to get gone, rid of, out of there. So we put in the work, we do whatever it is to get rid of that irritant, and hopefully what's going on for you and me is that we're consciously thinking about what that is. We're I do know how to speak English. We're conscientious about what we're doing and how we're pursuing that particular change. My next question is, how many of you guys are holding yourself accountable? How many of you are not just making the goals, but putting in the work? And that gets hard. That gets hard, especially if you don't have an accountability partner or you're new at this and you really don't know what you're doing. So the other thing that can happen is if you do it a long time, you can get comfortable. You can get into a routine that becomes familiar and enjoyable. And then sometimes, you get a monkey wrench and it throws your whole day off. My mornings are typically never the same. There are a couple days that are the same throughout the week, but typically day to day, not the same days. So I had to learn to adapt to that. It wasn't what I wanted to do at all. However, necessity required that I put in some work and make some changes to be able to handle the change that was happening. So the question is for you, what are you doing? What are you working on yourself? Are you following a strict regimen like Ben Franklin, who wrote his 13 virtues and then spent 1 week working on it until 1 week for each one and then repeated that cycle? What are you doing? I mean, in that case, he did 4 weeks a year on each of the 13. I'd have to go look at his autobiography because I don't remember off the top of my head. So what happens? So Shrek goes to the castle. He defeats the Lord Farquaad's men, and Lord Farquaad gets this idea, well, hey, you know what? I'll give you your swamp back. Just go get the princess for me. He's like, okay, I can do that. Well, his quest, the going to part, we skip. Which is fine because the getting to our challenge is going to be different for every one of us. And how we get there is going to be different too. It might be a death in the family. It might be a loss of a child. There's so many different things that can cause something to create a shift or the necessity for us to shift that I couldn't sit here and try to give you all of them or discuss them all. But here's the thing. It is Shrek gets to the castle and he's got a dragon to face. Excuse me. one of my mentors, he prefers the term giant because that's what the Dream Giver talks about is the giants we have to face. But in the movie, Shrek has to face a dragon. And he defeats the dragon without killing it, which, of course, throws off Princess Fiona because she's like, you didn't slay the dragon? You know? And there's a little bit of adult humor in there, but here's the thing. As Shrek learns that he's capable of some things, and he learned that Donkey is really a true friend because even though he says things that Shrek doesn't like and acts out in ways that Shrek doesn't like, he still stands by him. He still goes into the castle with them. He still goes and, goes after or pursues that course of action. And, he totally supports him through that. Coming out of that adversity, that trial, he sticks with him. It's after midnight. It's almost 12:30. So I apologize for the yawns. So here's the thing. Is when we go through adversity and we face certain trials, when we grow ourselves and we become even a little bit better, it's going to winnow out some of those friends. Maybe they're really good friends, but they just can't handle your changes. And you're going to have some false friends that are going to fall out. And those are people you're most likely not even going to miss. Oh yeah. So after they rescue the princess, she wants to see him, and he cracks a couple jokes on himself and on Lord Farquaad. And I got to tell you that self-deprecating humor can be helpful to keep our egos in check. But the problem is, and my wife hits me with this all the time, is we have to be mindful that we don't go too far when we denigrate ourselves. Which sometimes we can. Sometimes we're going to really hit ourselves in the wrong way. So they have a 2-day walk, as far as we can tell. Back to Lord Farquaad's kingdom. And through those 2 days, Shrek and Fiona are spending all this time together. Donkey's kind of there, but he's kind of gets moved into the background. And we see that Fiona starts to, even though he's an ogre, Fiona has a secret, of course, we don't know that. But she's comfortable with him because in some ways he's like her because of the ogre side of her. And I'm just dying on that. So what happens is that Shrek gets her back. He hears something. It sounds like she's talking about him and she's talking about herself, and he misunderstands, right? And he gets upset. His feelings get hurt. And he storms off. And he goes and he gets Lord Farquaad and his men, and they come back. But Fiona's changed through this interaction. And she can tell that Shrek's hurting, but she doesn't know how to communicate with him because he's being an ogre. He's being angry and he's stomping around, right? So through our leadership journey, through our self-discovery and learning, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to fall back into bad habits. And we just have to continually work on improving that. In Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, he talks about that. The accumulation of daily habits results. Okay? Slight Edge, as I understand it, talks about that too. It's on my reading list. I haven't got to it yet. So that's what happens is he goes, he works on himself. You know, he goes back to his swamp. He gets his land back. You know, Donkey's building his side, and they're kind of arguing and stuff. And Shrek realizes he loves her. Excuse me. And so he goes back for Fiona. What happens? He's willing to take the risk of rejection because he sees something in Fiona that resonates with him. And as we go through this journey, we're going to attract people to us that resonate with us. They don't have to be at the same growth level as you. There might be another reason that they resonate with you. Maybe it's a personal experience they've had. Maybe it's something that you did. And that example stood out to them and they were like, wow, like that's amazing. You know, there's a guy I've actually been working with off and on for about 2 years. And he has some struggles that he's working through to overcome. But his journey is amazing. And it's a great, great story. And it's just barely begun. And I cannot wait till he has the courage to commit to working with me so that he can start to accelerate that growth and that change. And make some massive moves in his life and his career. And it's going to open up opportunities for him. I don't know what those are going to be because I'm not in his daily life. But I know what this has done for me. I know it's done for a bunch of different people. And that self-discovery journey, that self-growth journey is super important. So what about you? What are some key points in your life that you're missing? What things are you dropping the ball on because you're not willing to make that small change, that small commitment? And what I've learned is that for myself is I have to find ways to remind myself to tune something. And what I mean by that is, I'll give you a really easy example. I can give you two actually. Before I go to bed at night, I pick out my clothes, I get everything ready. So I have to do a shower and get dressed. No decision making, shower and dress. No rocket science there. And I can't tell you how young I was when I started that because I don't remember. But that has been, it's over 35 years probably that I've been doing that. I started that as a teenager at some point because it's not that I didn't want to have to think in the morning. I just wanted to have everything ready to go. My pants have all the stuff in the pockets that I want. Actually, I gotta check on one thing now that I say that. My pants have all the stuff in the pockets in the morning. So when I get out of the shower, I just put my pants on, put my belt on, put my shoes on. You know, shirts picked out, hanging on a hanger right there on the closet door. So I just gotta put the shirt on, hang the hanger back in the closet. Another thing is when my boys go to bed, we use a noisemaker in the room. And one of them loves Handle. He totally connects with it. And most of the time, it helps him to settle down and go to sleep at night. Well, I put the noisemaker, it's an old iPod. I put it where I can see it when I walk in and out of the kitchen during the night because I got to fill up my water. The dog wants to go out. My wife wants a treat, or I wanted little something out of the kitchen. But I put it in a place that I walk by it every time. And then sometime after 9:30, when I'm going by it, I pick it up. I change it to their nighttime noise, which is ocean waves. And then I put it in a charging station, because if I don't, it will be dead by the morning, and they'll have maybe an hour or two with sleep without it, which means they'll wake up earlier than normal. So what I've done is little things that help me to do the things I need to do. Runners, when people are just getting started into running, they'll sleep in their running clothes and put their shoes and socks right there. So when they put their feet on the floor, they step on their shoes or their socks and oh, I got to do that. Okay? So really, one of the big tricks to self-leadership is finding little things for you to do, creating little habits, if you will. Okay? When I was in college, another example is Saturday mornings, I would get up, I would take my laundry to the laundry, because we had a laundromat just a little ways from my apartment there. I take the laundry, because it was early in the morning, I was able to do both lights and darks at the same time. Two machines, boom, in. And I knew I had 45 minutes. I'd go back to my apartment, I'd do my scripture study, I'd do my prayer, I'd start yoga. When the alarm went off, I went back over, switched it, came back, and I had about an hour and a half, an hour to an hour and a half. And I would finish my yoga, I would shower, I would dress if the stuff I needed wasn't in there, in the washer and dryer, and I'd have breakfast. And so in that time frame, I would do as much of my morning routine as possible. The one other thing I did is Saturday mornings, I always cleaned the shower and then showered myself, because it was something I built the time in for, and and a lot of times I'd clean the bathroom and then shower, just depending on what the bathroom needed. But it was a 1-bedroom apartment. It was a 2-bedroom apartment, and I just really I don't like dirty showers. I don't like dirty bathrooms. And so I just built that habit in. When I had kids, I got married, that didn't really work in my schedule. That really just didn't jive with, what my family needed. So we've got to be willing to, one, make small changes so that we can adapt to our situations. And I can tell you right now, if I had to get up in the middle of the night and get dressed, I have pants and shirt right there. I could just put them on, grab a pair of socks, put them on. If I needed to do that. I just want you guys to think that in some ways, we're all like Shrek. We have problems. We have things that aren't going our way. We have things that aren't working the way we want them to. And the only way to do something about it is to make those little changes and to make more of them over time. I can't tell you how much of a difference it's made in my life. I've been working on that for nearly 25 years. And still, I've been going to work all week. I haven't done that since before Corona. And I came home one day and I did not reset my mind. And I brought some of the stuff from work home up here, walking into some craziness here. And I really then just had struggled that evening because I had to get things sorted out. I had to get my head right because I didn't get my head right before I got home because I forgot. So what I want you to understand from Shrek's journey is it's a foil, it's an example. I know it's a kid's story of our own lives. Because think about it, at the end of the story, he took the risk. In this case, he got the girl. And he got a better life. So, my friends, look. If you haven't seen Shrek, go watch it. If you have seen Shrek, but not thought about this kind of stuff, this leadership kind of stuff, watch this and then watch Shrek. And then come back and tell me, I'm going to have my rocker. Let me know. So look, guys, if you get value from this video, please like and share it. Here at Turning Leaf Solutions, I help people level up their leadership, personal and professional. If you're looking for a job promotion, if you're looking for a new job, I can help you develop the skills necessary to be able to walk into an interview and succeed. I do have a long-term coaching program, but I have an 8-week boot camp. If you want to call it that, I just call it an 8-week course. And I get you started on these things because in a lot of things, we can pursue our own personal growth without help. But sometimes we need a mentor. Sometimes we need a friend. And so, again, if you get value from this video, please like and share it. Otherwise, my friends, thank you for coming and spending time with me. That website is turningleafs, LEAFS.com. And I actually have a Superman video coming up. And I have a book review for a book I just finished. So we should be getting one of those out by Sunday. All right, my friends. Take care. Hope you guys go out and make it a great week. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.